Welcome to Mic Check Waifu Waifu.
Mic check, waifu. Ma, tell him. Is that you?
It's time to give out some flowers.
This is episode 327 of Mic Check Waifu. As always, it's brought to you by Patreon. Patreon.com/Mic Check Waifu is where you can get early access to the video version of this podcast, where you can get access to the Patreon exclusive podcast, The After Stories, where you can get access to the pre-show, which goes live 2 days before this episode goes live. Make sure you check out Patreon.com. Shout out to the Patreon producers. Explicitly, Get the Pro from Chaotic Culture Podcast. Make sure you check out Chaotic Culture Podcast. Fear, Semi Sensei, Frozen, T Money Fingers, Dad Needs to Talk. Make sure you check out Dad Needs to Talk. He just released a new episode. Dad Needs to Talk. Christian the Archivist, aka Death Scythe. All for one Matt. Rob Stone, and last but certainly not least, our guy Matthew H. I'm gonna give a special shout out to Crystal. Welcome back, Crystal. She joined us at the Senpai tier on Patreon. We appreciate you for coming back and supporting us as always. It means the world to us. Quick, I guess rigmarole before we get into the show proper is I have to make this sort of announcement because Google Podcast is gone, like officially, fully, 100% gone. And then they merged it with YouTube Music. So unfortunately, with that means anybody that used Google Podcast, all three of you, and I mean it was like three of you that use Google Podcasts. There's unfortunately no way that our podcast will be transferred to YouTube Music unless I re-put the RSS feed into our YouTube channel, which would then destroy our YouTube feed, which would completely ruin how we got everything set up as far as Patreon supporters goes and then getting the video early access to that. So unfortunately, if you are a Google Podcast listener, I would download a podcast app on your Google phone. I mean, they have them. There's a billion of them you can download that works just as good as Google Podcast did and YouTube Music does. So we are everywhere else, but the only way you can get access to the YouTube Music version of the podcast is if you support us on Patreon and unfortunately use the Patreon app to watch the video version early. So that'll be the only way you get access to that version. I apologize for that, Google Podcast listeners. Really ain't my fault. I don't know why they did it that way. They should have just kept the podcast app, but I digress. Now, Mic Check Waifu is the anime podcast brought to you every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. CT. We appreciate y'all for supporting us and listening to us, and we bring you seasonal topics, conversations, and reviews that we are going to do this week. This week, we are reviewing A Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, if you haven't seen the cover art of this podcast episode or the title. And before we get into that, let's start every episode as we do with episode of the week this week. Tel, what was your episode of the week this week?
It's kind of out of left field. But partially just because I feel like a stage of completion has happened. My Hero Academia.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say it's done, but I'm gonna say finally. Is what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
What about you, brother?
My episode of the week this week. It's kind of tough because I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't find any particularly episodes stand outish for me personally outside of this one that I'm going to make my episode of the week. So it's kind of hard to say that there's anything else other than my gift level 9,999 in the backwater dungeon. Every other episode just didn't do anything for me. And that includes Wild Ass Boss Appear. This show sucks. And let me tell you why. This show sucks because it kind of came off as like it was going to be this another like unique power trip of a show with a cool overpowered character with some nuance, almost Overlord-esque type of quality to it. I mean, and I was shouting from the rooftops, don't ever do that with this show from the beginning, even though it kind of seems like it was trying to be that, but I digress again. Well, Wild Ass Boss is just stupid. It's full of a bunch of stupid characters doing stupid things. It don't make a whole lot of sense. Like, for instance, this most recent quote-unquote reveal, highly predictable, but it was also like, it just had me thinking, like, isn't Lufus, I mean, maybe this is my own self projecting her, wanting her to be something more. Isn't she supposed to be smart? Isn't she supposed to realize how obvious that this is all happening in a certain way, that it just, she needed something completely out of left field in order for her to determine that this was, I guess I don't want to spoil it, that this was the outcome of this turncoat, I guess, if you will, for lack of a better term. I don't think she's an actual turncoat, but that goes into a whole other nuance into the show that doesn't really exist or need to be delved into. But I just think it's the main character's stupid, and the stupidity is irritating to watch because it's so obvious, even to not only the viewer watching, but it should have been obvious to the main character as well, and it was just frustrating.
And I agree with a lot of that, mostly for the fact of, like, even though, and I'm going to say this, I could be entirely wrong by saying this, I don't feel like they demonstrated her as being intelligent. They just demonstrated her as being strong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even though, you know what I mean? Even though it just seems weird with the amount of information that she's already surmised and put together, that
you couldn't figure this out.
This is going on. It's especially with, like, I mean, the whole thing just should have never really happened to begin with.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, it's stupid. It's not great. It's not the worst thing I've seen, but it's definitely not like, it's not like,
because what would Libra do what she do when something was clearly about to be unveiled? Well, like, it's a lot of dumb shit like that. It's like, Libra would know too, obviously. It's a lot of the weird
5%, you know what I mean? And then it's the mental or the mind erasing thing, and the little moment that they had in this episode. I was like, okay, so that just made it feel obvious, even that she's using those abilities. And it's like, while telling you that I have them up front kind of alleviates the threat of them, you know what I mean? Like the gate ability, and then I can also alter memories. It's like, hey, yeah, I also do this. It's supposed to, like, alleviate the threat of them saying, hey, this is just a side character who has these overpowered abilities,
who never should have in the first place. Right.
It clearly paints them as somebody who is opposing
adjacent. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. It's frustrating to watch because it could have been something special and it opted not to be. Honestly, I just feel like I'm watching a different version of Shangri-La Frontier with a lot more context or a lot more story inside the episodes, because the episodes aren't 11 minutes long because of some fucking stupid ass theater thing. But anyway, other than that, any other episodes that stand out to you this week that you want to discuss before we hop into the review?
I have to agree with you. Nothing really popped this week.
Yeah, weird week.
I wouldn't even say weird. It just was like okay.
Everything was like a transition into something else. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
But no, you're right. I'm like watching. I'm thinking about, there was something that happened in an episode that I was like, I gotta talk about this. But now I'm thinking about it. It was something bad. Like, I'm thinking about, like, something negative that happened in an episode where it's like, oh, I gotta bring this up. But it's also like, why even waste my time?
Yeah.
It was, I think it was in, like, this monster wants to eat me in a specific scene. And I was like, okay, that was trash. Why would that happen? But it's like, it doesn't change the continuity of show because we already knew it wasn't an A-list kind of like quality show. So it doesn't change anything.
I do want to say though, I do like sorry to use this word again, but it's very poignant. But the nuance that we are getting inside of Dad is a Hero and Mom is a Spirit, and I'm a Reincarnator. The nuance that we're getting in this episode was absolutely fire about Uncle, you know, and the way he's opted to handle his wife and home situation, and how it's kind of like lightly feeding into a bigger discussion between the family in its entirety. I love that part of it too, and I thought it was cool. I'm like, damn, this show is just offering so much that I just don't understand why people don't like it.
And I will say this, right? Just like how we said, nothing really stood out per se. I love this show still. And what I mean by that is like, and like I'll say this again, correct me if I'm wrong. This is like fantasy slice of life. This is like if you were a spirit or a knight or something like that in a magical kingdom, this is a slice of life that you would have, right?
That's a good way of putting it.
It's just so interesting because it is about the relationship and the politics and stuff like that, but it's so oriented through this like perspective that is, I just think is interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's still a show I love. When I say like the things this week did not stand out, I don't mean that one, because like it wasn't like Shouted from the Rooftops a great episode, but it was like consistently good and providing what it has been giving, which is just a really solid show.
I thought it was a great episode, and like I said, I thought it was but more of a transitional episode into again what that bigger conversation has to be with is her uncle and their family dynamic. And again, I think the fact that this show is even covering that aspect of it, that little nuanced piece of this particular family portion, is awesome, man. It's incredible. It truly is an incredible show.
Yeah, the uncle kind of pissed me off.
Yeah, same. But you got to understand the situation where he's obviously very busy. The family has a lot of work to do and a lot of stuff going on, and
things change when you have a brother that's been gone for 10 years.
A brother that's been gone for 10 years, an older brother at that who's back and who has a family and a daughter, and that daughter is also very smart and prim and proper, and you have this wife and you have this daughter who is, first off, everything that happened with the wife, he probably still haven't forgiven her for that. So he's kind of in this still kind of distrusting mindset, which, come on, man, you're my spoilers. My wife was in love with my brother. Like it's hard for you to, in the back of your head, you obviously are going to be, he's keeping himself busy to kind of keep that in the back of his mind. And then you got his daughter who he didn't grow up, or he had with her, but he didn't grow up with them together because that was a part of a whole separate family life when he was already married to somebody. It's just so much. And the fact that I'm talking about this so deeply and so much nuance is just proof of how incredible that show is. So good. So good. I get excited when I talk about that show because it's just, it's an infatuation when I have shows that give me more than just whatever surface level bullshit I'm getting from fucking The Gatherer's Adventure and an Isekai or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just get excited about that kind of stuff. Speaking of, I think I still think we should do an episode, and I talked about this last week. Maybe we should do it next week because next week is looking rather slim as well. The conversation, and I feel like we had it before on this podcast, but the conversation on how deep we go inside of our anime analysis, right? On what we like, what we appreciate, why we review something in the way we do, and as far as like the depth of the characters or the depth of the world, and like going to like the fucking word of the day is nuance. Going to the nuance of how we discuss our anime and what we like about it, because of what I noticed is that from us, our thoughts are so vastly different from the general consensus on almost every single anime we talk about. Again, for example, Dad is a Hero, Mom is a Spirit, I'm a Reincarnator. It gets an average score of 64, 65 on AniList, which is higher than 59%, which is what I think what it was last week. While Last Boss Appears is 72%. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we are so vastly on a different realm or scale from what other people and just the masses of the anime community believes in, that we should go into detail on why certain things are the way they are for us next week. I think that would be a good topic of conversation.
Same. I think that actually sounds great.
Sweet. And I'm sure we've done that before, right? We have had to have had that conversation on this show.
Yeah, maybe once, but it's never wrong to re-spark the conversation.
Yeah, especially when you're 327 deep. Are you caught up on One Punch Man at all?
No, I stopped the slideshow for a little bit. I was going to watch it, but it's like,
it's getting cooked.
I'd rather waste my time in other places. That's why I've been watching like My Hero.
It's getting absolutely demolished right now.
Is it?
Oh yeah, the internet is frying it.
I believe it because I could just read the manga. I could literally read the manga for $2 a month and finish it all in a month, and then just take my subscription back and never have to watch or torture my eyes again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's unfortunate because I like One Punch Man a lot. Very, very unfortunate.
What are people saying about it? Are they, when they're torching it, what are they saying?
I mean, it's like there are other animators from other shows are like even speaking up about it and saying like, y'all got to understand they were put in a tight spot. JC Staff got it and it's literally a rush drop. My only concern is like, well, why? People waited 6 years already for One Punch Man season 3 to come back anyway.
We would have waited more.
We would have waited an extra year or two. Like what did it matter? So
and that's the thing, right? Is that our perspective on that, right? We definitely would have waited another year.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes these producers don't take that into like retrospect. It's like, oh, it is retrospect, but it's like they don't take that into they don't take that into like they don't think about it while they're producing it. They're just like, hey, let's hurry up and push it out. We know it's a cash cow or whatever. But it's like now you're getting ripped apart.
Yeah.
And you literally just push something out that's a bad product. Because no one's going to want to continue it.
Yeah. But to put it in perspective, Dad is a hero, Mom is a reincarnator, and I'm a reincarnator. That's also JC Staff this year, as well as my gift level 9,999 unlimited, whatever. Both of those shows look perfectly fine, but I'm sure they had way more time to cook. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So JC Staff can do it. They have done it.
It makes me think about Seven Deadly Sins when they had that big debacle with Netflix. And I'll say that like I didn't actually mind the first season of Seven Deadly Sins.
No, it was incredible.
But as soon as I saw like that progression in the second, I was like, you know what?
Yep.
Why would I even waste my time? I'm not saying that the first season was amazing. Like I enjoyed every little aspect of it, the story beat and everything like that. It was just so okay, right? It was very shonen. But I'm not going to waste my time on very shonen and look at that.
Yeah, no, it got rough real quick. And the problem is because they try to get it done. Like what is like a year apart or something like that? I think it was three, between 2 and 3 is when they really took a nosedive. I don't care enough to look it up to find out, but yeah, it was rough. It was rough because it completely ruined the entire series for most people.
Right. But then you released, what was it, Castlevania?
Oh. Was it
Castlevania?
Yeah. That
looked phenomenal?
Yeah. Yeah. Just everything else about it was terrible.
That's true.
Story writing, pacing, all of that was garbage. It looked wonderful though. But that's about it. All right. Anything else? That it? That all we got?
Now let's jump into the review. Let's get right into it, bro.
What did you think of this? Oh, sorry. I guess I should break down what we're doing here. Let me pull up our reviews because We have a lot of them. Google, what is it called? Docs. Yeah.
Yes.
That's the only thing I didn't have up was the list of reviews.
I feel like it's bookmarked. It's bookmarked on my tab.
Yeah, I gotta bookmark it on my area.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
All right. So we reviewed a total of 44 shows. This will be our 45th show. The way My Check Waifu reviews work is that we rate 5 categories using a 20-point scale. 20-point scale being 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, all the way up to 10, etc. We take those 5 categories. We then average it out from each host to give us individual scores based off the overall ratings. And then we take those average scores and we average them together to give you a My Check Waifu official review. Now, the 5 categories that we rate using that scale is animation, which is the art style, visual direction, scenery, and overall viewing experience. Sound design, soundtrack, composition, sound effects, and how well it ties to the visuals, as well as the voice acting, pacing, episode to episode strength and continuity, and how well the story developed and unfolded as the series went on. Plot, the overall story, and how well it was written, and how well the story resonated with us as the viewer. And then last but certainly not least was the characters, the relatability, the overall development and growth of the characters, and how memorable they were. All right. As we start off every review, let's start off with the overall thoughts. Tell, what is your overall thoughts of A Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity?
You sure you want me to go first on this one?
Yeah.
These are some of my favorite relationships in like all of anime. And I say that in terms of the supporting cast was amazing. And this show, to me, it felt like it didn't necessarily feel like the title, like The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, right? That's not what it necessarily felt like, because it may feel like that later on with later seasons and whatnot. But what it did feel like to me was breaking down the walls of like insecurities and other things that just made this show flourish and created a level of understanding amongst the characters that felt amazing. Yeah, man. These are just some of my favorite relationships I feel like ever. These characters were phenomenal to spend this time with. And if you went back and checked out the dub, which I think it was only episode 1 that was dubbed, or is it more?
Oh, the whole thing is dubbed.
The whole thing was dubbed?
Yep, day and date.
Okay, well, I only watched the first episode dub, but everything else I watched sub. It was amazing. I think the dub was great too.
Shout out to Robbie.
Yeah, I felt very drawn into both the sub and dub. Like I was tuned to the screen the whole time watching it. And I hope that's not like a spoiler on my review here, but no. It was great.
Robbie is one of the best voice actors when it comes to, and Robbie is the main male voice actor character. He's one of the best voice actors, honestly, in anime, period. But he rarely does anime anymore because he kind of transitioned more over to video games, which he's also an incredible voice actor in too. But yeah, he's incredible. The one thing about the dub I will say is the girl always just sounds very robotic. I don't know why. For some reason, Netflix always does the male voice acting brilliantly. They get everybody right male-wise, but the female voice actresses, they book or the direction they give them, because I don't think she's a bad voice actress. I just think the direction she's given is poor. It just seems very robotic and stale and stiff. And when they try to portray timid, it comes off as just not enough, you know? And it was the same with the marriage one, with the fucking sci-fi shit in it and the magical powers. What was that one?
Oh,
also on Netflix. The male.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh my God.
Crystal's screaming it at her phone right now. But
right now, biting our heads off.
That's another dub where the males were perfect. Every last one of them.
My Happy Marriage.
My Happy Marriage. There it is. That's another one where the males were perfect and the females they just sounded, at least the main female characters just sounded terrible. They could have even switched the silver haired chick in Haruko, and that probably would have better fit, to be honest, but I digress. All right.
I mean, yeah.
My thoughts is that it's one of the best slice of lives, in my opinion. Easily, probably top 10, maybe even top 5 slice of life of all time, because it was and I'm gonna break it down more in the review, but what it did was it's not just about the romance. And that was, I think, the most important piece. And I said that every week that I watched the show, and I brought it up on the show. What they did so well, and what always made me shed a thug tear, was always character growth, always somebody growing in some way, in some form, each and every episode. There was not an episode that was wasted where you just feel like we were dragging your feet. And a lot of slice of life shows, i.e. my sleeper this season, there's a lot of dragging of the feet with the stars is brighter than the sun. It's a great show, don't get me wrong, but it's the atypical, usual Japanese slice of life romance anime where they drag their feet over and over and over with a bunch of miscommunications or lack thereof communications, and it just feels like we're treading through water in the fucking most isolated place on earth. It just don't feel right. It just always feels like all you got to do is just speak, and it just doesn't happen. In this one, these are characters who don't understand their emotions quite yet, and who don't want to be a burden on each other via, school differences, or at least for our main male character's sake. And he just grew and understood and learned how he romantically felt about a person. And he didn't understand none of this shit. You know what I'm saying? But every episode, he continued to grow and gain that growth over and over and over again. It was just phenomenal. And like Tell said, the side characters was definitely probably one of the strongest pieces of the show as well, because they also helped carry a lot of character growth within the show. It's wonderful. Yeah. It's just a fantastic show. All right, let's start the review proper. We start off with animation. Tell.
I feel like this might be one of the anime that Netflix actually put their budget into.
Well,
on the anime.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. This was it wasn't animated by Netflix internal studio, so
it was outside of Netflix's studios.
Yeah.
It was just streamed on Netflix. Mm-hmm. Either way,
they bought the rights.
This is a great looking slice of life. It had absolutely amazing scenes and moments in it.
Cloverworks.
And yeah, Cloverworks went hard. I remember I remembered who was doing the animation, but yes, Cloverworks, they did their job, bro. Some of these characters just, and it wasn't all the time, but they had moments where they would really amp up the motion, how things looked, the pan and tilt of the camera, just to really give that depth of field and feeling in certain shots. I thought the animation was amazing. I'm not going to say it was perfect, but it was definitely amazing. So I gave it a 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I think what Till was trying to say was the direction of it. It was wonderful. It was just directed so beautifully. And again, it's not just the art style and the art and how good it look as far as that goes, but it was just there's so many scenes, because y'all know now, instead of like doing some Googling and trying to fucking overcomplicate the thumbnails for the YouTube videos, I just take screenshots from the episode that I watched, episode of a show that I watched this week that I think looks cool. And to be honest, both A Fragrant Flower blooms with dignity, and May I Ask for One Final Thing are the most screenshotable shows I've ever watched. If y'all notice, there's a lot of May I Ask for One Final Thing screenshots because it's just beautiful fucking art almost every other scene with that show. It's fucking wonderful as far as the art goes. And the same thing goes with this one. There's a specific scene that I'm using for this art that was on the last episode of this show. And it was when she was walking past the bakery and before she curled her hair and did all that stuff. And she just looked up at the bakery and the way her head turned and faced the bakery, it was just the most beautiful scene. I'm like, this shit looks incredible. The way they depict depression on her face and just the heaviness that she was discussing or talking about in that particular scene in that last episode. The way it was displayed was so beautiful that I'm like, yeah, this fucking show is just full of these moments. A lot of even I could have just took a screenshot of a cake and that shit would have been beautiful, man. It just, everything about the animation of this show is gorgeous. And Cloverworks never ceased to fail when it comes to animation. And I also give it a 9.5 as well. Because, again, it's not perfect by any stretch of the words, and it's not going to blow your fucking socks off. No, it did. It blew my socks off a few times.
Yeah, it did.
But it was amazing. It was amazing.
I'm thinking about that sparkler scene.
Yeah.
And just how realistic, like, because it went from looking like a regular, like, animated sparkler, and then they had that one scene where it was like that focal blur, but it just looked like they actually just dropped a real sparkler into the anime. I was like, that's crazy.
It's Cloverworks did their thing. Sound design. My favorite thing about the show is the performance from the voice actors, on both the sub and the dub. Again, the dub is incredible for the most part. This is probably the weakest link here as far as everything goes, because it wasn't much to it other than the great voice acting, and the music wasn't my favorite. Very samey a lot of the times for this particular show, unfortunately. So for me, I gave the sound design an 8.5.
I have to agree with my brother here. And when I say this, because I think that, like, I overall really like the subs and dub. I thought the sub was great. It felt less robotic to me than the dub. When you come to, like, the woman voices and whatnot. But the music, and I was doing this the whole time watching it. I'm like, the music hits at the right times, but am I going to remember this song? You know what I mean? And it was like, I feel like I would get ideas. Like, I know I've heard this song somewhere, but I can't pinpoint it. You know how sometimes the song just sounds so good, you know exactly where it came from. I think the timing was right. It just wasn't the best overall sonically, like Polow was saying. I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, it wasn't much. I mean, the rest of this is pretty easy for me, but pacing, Tel, what would you feel about the pacing of each episode?
In terms of pacing, every episode moved in a way in which it was supposed to.
Yeah.
Every episode felt like what it was supposed to feel like, and it talked to me in a way that it felt like it was supposed to because of how it moved. It did not feel out of place in any moment at all in terms of pacing. So I might also say that this is also easy. The pacing was like, it was perfection. I gave the pacing a 10 because it didn't feel off in any way, shape, or form. The pacing set it up so that everything just hit the way it was supposed to.
This anime is the perfect definition of fell into place. Everything just fell into place. It was just wonderful. I expected the pacing to be a little rougher because again, slice of life shows, they're normally 12, 13 episodes. They have a midpoint where it always is a flat line. And that flat line is the miscommunications and the back and forths, and it just stalls. The conversations the episode pacing of progress stalls is what I mean specifically. And the fragrant flower that blooms with dignity had none of it. Every episode had growth. Every episode you learned something new or got something new or felt like some progress was made, even if technically the conversation wasn't being had or anything like that, but it was always progression with the characters, and not just the two main characters, but other characters around them. It was a perfect 10, pacing wise. I honestly can't think of any other show that is paced as well as that. Even some of the previous 10s that I gave out before, I can't think of anything that perfectly paced. And this might be the new bar.
Yeah. I know this is Polow's section to talk about it, but I was thinking about just like when the characters were introduced, when their like issues were introduced, and how things were done. I felt like it all came in place to lead to the next step. Mm-hmm. It just felt like the perfect vehicle was driven to take us to the next step in all this anime. So I like I said, once again, I agree. It's a perfect pacing.
Yeah. Plot for me, as I start off with the plot this time, it's so simple, right? It's a simple boy-girl relationship plot with situations that could incite turmoil, and I do feel like we are getting a season 2. I definitely feel like we are getting a season 2. Even though I don't think we need to, we are, because the plot is the schools essentially, and that whole keeping it on a hush hush, keeping it on a down low, and we made progress to become or to where we want to be as far as like them being a couple and whatnot. So the plot is the schools essentially. It was in the background, but I will say it was always there. But I think I can't lie to you, Tel. I feel like the way this plot was interwoven with the character's development, like each and every character's development, these tie-ins the plot and the characters are so much in tandem that I can't not give it this score. I have to. The plot to me is a 10. I fucking enjoyed all of it. As far as like the quote unquote issues, like Tel said, again, building up to what we got with character development, they're so intertwined that it's hard to not even tie them together. So you kind of know what my characters are going to be as well. So the plot is a 10. It's a 10 to me personally. Now it's not going to be the 10 that sets the new bar, because I still think plot wise, a 10 is Astro Lost in Space or Summertime Rendering. But I do think I can't give it anything lower than the 10.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
I think that's fair. I think that, so I viewed the plot differently than Polow here.
Always. This is always the one.
Now, when it came to the plot for me, like, yeah, I think the schools were part of the plot, but I thought the plot was definitely what I said earlier, how these characters, yes, they met because of the schools, but I don't even think necessarily not because they met because of school, but it was more about their relationships overcoming those barriers and creating transparency and communication skills and development like that. These characters, in terms of what they deliver, what messages they deliver, what lessons they learn. When I first watched the first episode, I'm like, okay, so this is going to be Lady and the Tramp. It's not that. It's not even close to that. It's so much better than that in so many different ways, that these characters relate more than you think. And these characters have tendencies that lead them to have different relationships even with each other. And they all carry their personalities differently in terms of how they were giving us this plot. So I thought the plot was how we as these people demonstrate and bring the world to us in so many ways. But I gave the plot a 10.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I was trying to hold back my laugh because as you were talking, I'm like, this motherfucker said characters 17 times when he's talking about the plot. And that's why, again, we talk about this all the time. The separations between plot and characters, we do it, me and him both do it differently. Me and Tel, that is. It makes me laugh every single time.
Because we both feel this. And I feel like if you know what I just gave plot, I'm going to just tell you now right off the top. My characters is a 10.
Yeah, same.
And these are the best characters. I love them all.
Yeah.
All of them. I love the friends from Kikyo. I love the friends from Chidori. I think that they are amazing. And it's like
clearly misunderstood
very misunderstood
with the plot.
Man, when they tell you who they are. Like, what's his Saku Natsusawa. I love him. I was like, bro, he's quiet, but he's smart. But he also is like the understanding, because he's like, hey, look, if he's gonna tell us when he tell us, it's just like that. But I trust y'all, and to me, I was like, this is so. The characters here are just amazing in terms of how they relate to each other, how they relate with the world, and how they develop. So yeah, it was easy 10.
Yeah, and again, this is when I was talking about the plot. For me personally, the plot is the different schools and them overcoming those barriers between the different schools. And then, like I said, but because they decided to go the route of developing the characters so strongly that these two are so intertwined that I am, for once, on the same page as Tel when it comes to discussing the plot, more discussing the characters more so than the actual plot of the show, because the plot of the show is the characters themselves in this particular show, which is for me personally rare, because I always separate characters from plot, because I feel like separate the characters from the plot itself, because the plot is always a story that's being told that the characters are put in to then drive that plot. So whatever that plot is always different from the characters, and that's how I always kind of review. And we're gonna talk about that more next week when it comes to the way we view things when it comes to watching anime. But I mean, yeah, this is about where I thought it would be. I thought it would be a little bit higher because of what we rated. What did we rate last time? The end, Lord of Mysteries. Oh no, this is to me maybe it's quite accurate, but yeah. So, I mean,
let's be fair. This is damn near perfect. This is
yeah. I agree. Let's start off with animation. I gave it a 9.5. Tel gave it a 9.5. Sound design, I gave it an 8.5. Tel gave it an 8. Pacing, I gave it a 10. Pacing, plot, and characters, we both gave it a 10. Just for brevity's sake. Which makes my overall score a 9.6, which makes Tel overall score a 9.5, which makes the overall score of My Check Waifu a 9.5, which places it right above or below Lord of Mysteries. Yeah.
And I think that makes a lot of sense. I definitely, and hear me out, and this is why sometimes reviews suck. I enjoyed Too Many Losing Heroines, but after watching this, it's hard to think that that's a 9.5. And it's some of it is very good, because I do think that maybe they had better sound design.
Yeah.
Certain aspects of it were better.
I do believe that. But I also believe that
these characters were perfection.
Yeah. I also believe that Too Many Losing Heroines, I think I gave the appropriate score. I think you were a lot higher than me. And the reason why my score drop was lower, I believe, was because of that last episode. That last episode took an absolute nosedive to me, personally. But Here we are. There's a lot of reviews here that a place further than the universe is a fragrant flower better than that. Yeah. Yes, it is. But because it's a snapshot in time, our reviews, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I even think, the JJK one, we had an extra body there, so that's a little bit higher than what it should be, because that extra body was a huge fan. But I think this is definitely appropriate. I think our reviews probably post. Let's say this is a tough one. I'm thinking maybe post too many losing heroines, I think, or post My Team Romantic Comedy Snafu. Somewhere in between there is when it becomes, I believe our reviews becomes ultra accurate. Personally, like Log Horizon season 1 through 3, 8.9, great score. Bottom tier character, that's another appropriate score. I just think like Darwin's Game 8.5. I don't think it should be that. I think Bungo Stray Dogs may be a little low, maybe. You guys can view our can also view our review, our rated anime by joining our Discord and checking out our community reviews channel. There is, or a Mic Check Waifu review channel that has all of our listed scores and stuff.
Yeah.
Including this updated sheet we're looking at now.
Yeah, man. I a lot of these are really good. Steins Gate 8.65.
I even think that could be higher. Because I find Steins Gate way better than Beastars. Way better.
Oh yeah.
By a whole lot.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But that's different.
Beastars is disdain.
To you. You can re-review Beastars. I'm gonna give it perfect score.
Oh man. I mean, hey, with that, this has been Mic Check Waifu. I'm at Polow on all social media.
I'm at King Telliano on all social media.
You can follow our social medias, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video, and subscribe to our gaming podcast, which will be making a comeback soon. We talked about it in the pre-show, but thank y'all so much for supporting us. And as always, Mic Check. 47-minute episode.
That's cool. It's short and sweet.
Short and sweet.
You're now tuned into Mic Check Waifu. Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you?